are running for City Council and Mayor of Chattanooga this coming March, just less than 40 days away at the time we're doing this interview. So today we're talking to Anthony Byrd, the incumbent in District 8. But before we get there, let me tell you a few things. The election is March 2nd. You can register to vote up till February the 1st. Early voting begins February the 10th and ends on February the 25th. So if you're an early voter, that's time to get out. We encourage you to get out. These elections generally are kind of low turnout, but there's so many candidates and there's so much to pick from. We really encourage you to get registered and vote, or just get out and vote. During the interview, we'll be running Mr. Byrd's contact information up there. You can contact him on his website. And Anthony, welcome. We're glad you're here.
It's a pleasure to be here, sir. It's a pleasure.
Delight to meet you. Anthony, tell us a little bit about yourself. Some of the people may not know you well. Where are you from?
I'm born and raised here in Chattanooga. I grew up in Alton Park and Potts Home. Then my family ended up moving to Eastdale, Avondale area. Yeah. As a kid, I was a part of an anti-drug group called the Happy Clowns. We then transitioned into a boy band called the New Beginning. Traveled the world. We signed a record deal. Usher Raymond was a member of our group and did some wonderful things, touched a lot of people. And then I came back home and decided to, after school, that I needed to help Mom. And so I started working. And I was working at the Hamilton County Courthouse under a young lady, Miss Gwen Tidwell. And I worked there for probably 20 years, let's say 15, 20 years. And then some friends came and said, hey, you need to run for city council. Yeah. And I was like, wow, run for city council. And they was like, yeah, you know everyone in the community, people love you. I'm also an event planner and party promoter that used to do several events around the city. We had some very large events where, we brung out thousands of people. And they were like, man, you touch so many people, you're connected to the community, you ought to run for council. Never had any dreams about being a politician or getting to this realm because it was so hard to do. And, once you become a politician, you become dehumanized. And so I was like, man, I don't want to do it. But they were like, you'll be the perfect candidate. So I ran for council, and I said, okay, let me try it. I ran, and fortunately, I ended up winning. And when I won the council seat, I realized I couldn't work at the Hamilton County Courthouse anymore. So I had to either give up my seat or give up my career for 20 years. And at that time, I was working under Mr. Vince Dean, and he said, well, Anthony, God chose you to do this because you won. So you need to keep pushing and become a councilman. And, if you ever could get the law changed to get things done, we'll be more than happy to have you back. And so when I walked across that stage, immediately, Councilman Ken Smith and Councilman Chip Henderson, Jerry Mitchell, Darren, all the council people, they just got to work. Councilwoman Coonrod Erskine, Oglesby, they all just got to work to trying to figure out how we can change that law, because I had to give up my career that fed my family, and took care of me. And you don't make much as a councilman.
What is the law that if you work for?
If you elected official cannot work in a public office, say like for the county. That was basically the gist of it.
Even though you hold office in the city, you couldn't work for the county?
I couldn't work for the county. It was a law that was put on the books like in the 50s or the 60s, and no one just ever changed it or had any reason to change it. And so when we saw it and knew that it had no conflict, we put it in place, and the community voted on it hands down. And I was able to get my job back, and Vince Dean hired me back. So now I'm working downtown at the Hamilton County Courthouse.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about District 8. Where is it?
District 8 embodies, you would say if we started at Amnicola Highway, you would go from Amnicola Highway all the way over to Russell Boulevard, meaning from Amnicola, you have Avondale, you have Clifton Hills, you have East Chattanooga, you have UTC, you have Fergal Place, Morningside, Eveningside, you have Main Street, Market Street, Fort Wood, you have all of those areas. So my whole area spans Holland Park from East Lake Courts, from Rossville Boulevard, all the way to Amnicola Highway.
Okay. Okay, and I will tell the listeners that if you go to our website, hamiltonflourishing.org, you can click on a button, and it'll tell, and put in your name and address, or just your address, and it will tell you what district you are in, and then you can know who to vote for and who to look for. Also on our website are pictures of all the people who are running for office, both mayor and city council, and it's connected to their website and Facebook or Facebook. And we're putting up these interviews that we're doing as fast as we can. And we're also posting the polling that we've been doing. It's appearing in the Times Free Press on Sundays. So that polling will be up there. You can really keep up with the races really well, and get a lot of information about the candidates. It's their website. They're telling you what they want to hear. So that's a good place to go, hamiltonflourishing.org. Now, you've been in office for 4 years. You got elected in 2017. How do you think that's made you, how has that served you to seek a second term?
Oh, man. I realize that I'm not done. It's a lot of education and a lot of misperceptions that are put out there, and I think it's my duty to educate the people of Chattanooga and let them understand just exactly what a council person can do. You know, when I first became a councilman, I thought I was going to come in and stop racism. You can't legislate morality. You know, people are who they are. Then I also thought I could stop homelessness. I thought I could help everyone with a mental illness. And I started to realize that, you know, some people don't want to be bothered. Like even the people that are living on the streets, they want you to somewhat leave them alone. And the people that want help, I have to create a pipeline or a platform that they can have their trajectory from, that they can, you know, lift up from. And people with mental illness, I realized that if you don't have conservatorship over them, you can't make them go get the help that you know that they're needing. So I just got really educated. And so the education I received, I then have to turn and give that education to the people in District 8 so that they can understand the tools and resources that are here. Because a lot of times people just don't know. And that's what I need to do. So I said, hey, I'm going to give it another term, and hopefully I can leave Chattanooga in a better place than when I found it.
Yeah. Hey, that's a very intelligent answer.
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's good. Because most people think, you know, you can just kind of go in there and just, you know, do whatever, and it's not that way. I mean, your answer about the homeless people, I mean, some people really need help, and then other people, that's the way they want to live.
And you can always see the fault. You can see it because we see the homeless people on the street. Drive down 11th Street, you see it every day. And you want to go out there and help them and give them homes and give them food and give them a way out of that situation. But just government, it's hard for us to do that because we can create programs, but you're using taxpayers' money to create these programs, and everyone has a voice. Even the people that are homeless, you know, we have to listen to everyone.
Yeah, I hear you. These two questions kind of go together and kind of mirror off each other, but tell me what you think of Chattanooga. By that I mean, you've served in it for 4 years. What's the truth about the city? I mean, what if you had to describe Chattanooga, and then I'm going to ask you what direction you want to go in the next 4 years. So first of all, kind of what's your perception of where we are as a city? You know, several candidates, for instance, said it's really two cities. There's a city that's grown a lot through the Renaissance and such, and then there's a city that hasn't benefited from the growth and stuff. So that's an answer that's come up. So that's kind of what are we more a good city, a more bad city, a mixed city? Is it two cities? I mean, what's your kind of overall perspective?
Man, honestly, every city, every place is two cities, three cities. You have the rich, you have the poor, you have the middle class, you have different race, whether you're African American, whether you're white, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Indian. So everyone tends to go toward the people that they're most comfortable with. So we can point out any city and use that same analogy. The only issue that I think is that it's a misconception. Just take it for instance, the tragedy, the murder of George Floyd. That was tremendously terrible, tremendously just heart-wrenching. But it didn't happen here in Chattanooga. But that same energy and empathy came to Chattanooga. And I understand why, because we all could relate, especially if you're an African-American male. Unfortunately, our police department took a lot of bad hits from that. Now, is our police department perfect or good? They're good, but not perfect. We have a lot of things to fix, but we're not some of those other cities either. We're not some of those other states. And a lot of times when things go on around the world, we adapt them to Chattanooga, and we give a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth when it comes to Chattanooga. But the time I've been here, I've dealt with racism. I've dealt with unfairness. I've dealt with so many obstacles to hold me back. But when I speak on that, I also have to speak on the people I've met that have helped me, that have lifted me up, that have gave me an opportunity, that have gave me a shot and gave me a chance. But I had to get out of my comfortable situation, because comfort is the killer of greatness. So if I stay in that little circle that I'm comfortable with, I end up stagnant. I have a cap on how far I can go. But when I put myself around people that I'm not so comfortable with, I started to see myself grow, and I put God first, and I understood my foundation is with him, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. So I started to realize, look at how I can grow. And now I sit in front of you, a young African-American man from the inner city, and now I'm a city councilman. And I did it in Chattanooga. So I think Chattanooga has opportunity and great things for a lot of people. We just have to put people in those rooms and let them know that it is for you.
You're an inspiring sort of fellow.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
If this is not on script, but I'm just curious, as you look back on your life, what made you want to be more than, say, the other kids that didn't want to be more?
I had a mentor, a guy named Daryl Wheeler, and when we had,
and was he just a guy, or was he
just a regular guy?
Program, or?
Yeah, he had the program called the Happy Clowns.
Oh, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, when I was a kid. And Daryl, he just
is he still around?
He's still around. He has his own place. It's over in the park. He has a snow cone company over in the park where he does shaved ice, and it's amazing. And the guy is he's just an awesome man. He had a great heart. He had a great vision, and I just seen him knock down so many doors just with the will of God. And you know, he was very prayerful and just stayed on the right track. And he never wavered. He didn't compromise with his morals and integrity. And so when I saw that, and if you stand on that, God will bless you. If you stand on what you believe in and it's for the right thing, you know, God will bless you with it. And I think one of the things I learned as a kid was life will give you what you accept. You know, if I accept that I'm a failure, if I accept that I cannot grow, life will give me that. But if I accept that I'm a conqueror, if I accept that I can do anything, life will give me that. So Daryl taught me that as a kid, that life gives you what you accept. And so I have just decided to not accept anything but greatness from myself, my family, and my friends.
I wish I were one of your friends. Might could help me out.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what are the top 3 to 5 issues you see coming up over the next 4 years?
Top 3 to 5 issues coming up over the next 5 years.
4 years.
4 years. Yeah, 4-year terms. We're going to have to first educate people on city government and how it works. And after we educate people on that process, then the next thing is we're going to have to make sure the process doesn't fail the people. Because if the process doesn't fail the people, then everyone has an opportunity to grow. And right now, the process is not perfect. I get it. But that process has to be strengthened, whether it's the process of using 311, whether it's the process of our police department, our YFD department, public works. The process of how they operate in the city of Chattanooga definitely has to be strengthened so that people can use these resources to better their lives. Our infrastructure, roads, paving. We're going to have to make sure that we do our best to strengthen that and make that better. That's going to be a big issue. Early childhood education. Although the city of Chattanooga, we're out of the education business, we're not out of the people business, because our kids go to these schools. But I think we need to start preparing our babies, giving them those extra tools they need through early childhood education. If we can use our YFD centers or other facilities to make sure that our kids are getting
Or the city could partner with people.
Oh my God,
I mean, there's huge potential there.
we have to partner. We have to partner because it takes a village. So we definitely need to do that. So I think those are some of the things that we're going to have to, start to work on, and those are going to be some of our biggest challenges. But just the perception of government in Chattanooga, we have to fix that with all the craziness that has happened, from the pandemic to the Black Lives Matter movement to the craziness that happened at the Capitol. We have to change the mindset of, where our city and state is in, so we have to do that.
Let me ask you this question, change the gears just a little bit.
Okay.
Revenue for the city is down because sales tax are down.
Yes.
Okay, because of the COVID thing.
Yes.
But potentially revenues are up for property taxes because property is up about 30%.
Yes.
How's that going to work? I mean, the question is what I want to ask you is, where do you see the revenues of the city coming from, and do you see a tax increase in the next few years?
Okay, that's man, you punched me in the gut with that one. People don't want to hear about raising taxes, but we have to find a sweet spot. This is where we at. We're going to be presented a broken budget this year because of the pandemic and what went on.
What do you mean broken?
It's not going to be as lucrative as it was.
There's not going to be as much money in the
As much money,
yeah.
yes, sir. Okay. It's not. And we're going to have to adjust some things. Now, our fire department is in a very bad place. They need like $15 million to get our fire department up to the level of pay that they should be at.
Okay.
So that's one end. We are constantly talking about making sure that, say, our Carter bus routes are free. That's going to be another $2 million to make sure that everyone can ride the bus for free. Our police department, our guys in blue, they need raises as well. Their pay is very low. Our public works department pay is very low. So when you start to see how we're going to adjust and keep the morale up of our pay, and with this broken budget that we're going to have, we got to keep the morale going with our community and with our first responders and our workers. Then we also have to take care of the city when it comes to infrastructure and making sure that we'll continue to get in business and having our tourist department flourishing and things going well. So this year, raising taxes is definitely a conversation that's on the table.
Okay.
But if not raising taxes, then you got to think about making some major cuts. And when you make those major cuts, you have people lose their job and lose their livelihood. So we got to find a good place, a balance.
Well, I love the idea of an expanded, more robust public transportation system. I think that's in the end, I think we'd save money. We'd spend $1 billion almost fixing the road up here near, that runs from 27. We spent a ton of money on that. It wasn't quite $1 billion, but we spent a lot of money. And that money, it seems to me, could have been spent on public transportation that would have solved a lot of problems without, because roads only do so much. They take up a lot of room and they're expensive.
One thing what you just said, that's the sweet spot, because when you talk to another group of people, they don't want to ride the public service. They don't want to get on a bus. They want to go. We're in that microwave society where I want to leave when I want to leave. I want to go. So
it would have to be robust. I mean, some of the biggest cities in the world have got mass transit. So.
Amazing mass transits.
Yeah. Jobs are a big deal.
Yes.
And Chattanooga's had a pretty good economy over the last few years until this COVID thing struck. What is your view on how we can help our economy? Let's assume COVID's gone. All right. How can we ratchet things back up, and what can the city council do to encourage economic growth in the city?
Man, as a councilman, I think in my 4 years, I've helped created over 300 jobs. With one M&M Industries that we brought here when I first became a councilman. Home serve situation we did with them with a pilot to make sure that they come here in Chattanooga and open up another facility. You have Gestump, and also you have the new paint company that's coming, Nippon Paint. So I continue to say that we have created the jobs and the opportunities. Now we have to educate and get our people in the city prepared to receive those jobs, because in those pilots or in the negotiations of bringing these companies here, we put on the table that these companies will have to use best efforts to hire people from Chattanooga, to hire people from these communities. So now as a city and as a council person, I have to do everything I can to partner with churches, like you said earlier, partner with people, partner with community groups, partner with neighborhood associations to get the kids and the young people prepared for when these jobs come. Yeah. And so that's going to be a tall task that everyone is going to have to pitch in on.
So if I ask you the question, do you see a role for the faith community to play as partners with the city?
1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%.
Okay. Right. How do you think the city and the county and the state have responded to this COVID thing? Have they managed it well,
yes.
or has it been a mess, or has it been confusing, or how would you describe it, and what would you do to fix it?
It's been confusing. It's been a mess on the forefront. We didn't know what we were doing. No one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is something that hits us out the blue. Like when you got your first cell phone, you didn't know how to work it. You didn't know what to do. You had to get educated. So I think over the past year, we have been educated on how to work together. We need more partnership, like you said earlier. We need to have more dialogue with the county. And I think that's the part of two definitely Chattanoogas. We have the county mayor and the county commission. Then we have the city council and the city mayor. And a lot of times we don't work together. We don't communicate as much as we should. Is it better than it used to be? Yes. But can it be a lot better? And I think if we can make that connection a lot more, then we will see our city grow a lot better.
All right. Tell me this. Affordable housing. Big deal, and you're a developer. That's one of the things you do. A lot of the candidates I've talked to, this has been a top line kind of issue, is that there's just not enough housing stock that's affordable for folks. And of course, interest rates are way down, but prices are going up. So what do you think? I mean, there's a lot of the housing has been gentrified. I mean, places that used to people with less means could live are gone. And I mean, downtown is now full of expensive condominiums and things.
Yes.
So, what do you do with that?
Well, first of all, in my term, we've created over 300 sustainable affordable housing. And when you look at the Bayberry Apartments, it's going to be affordable for the next 30 years. When you look at Patton Towers, it's going to be affordable for the next 30 years. Ridgeway Apartments is going to be affordable for the next 30 years. And all of this happened.
How can you say that? How do you know that? Is that in the law?
Because we worked out agreements with these companies when people bought the place to keep it affordable. The city council, the mayor, we worked out, we have a program called a pilot. And those are two tools that the city have. We have a pilot agreement that we can do payment in lieu of taxes. And we also have a land swap, where if we have some land and we give you that land, like we're doing now on Main Street with the AIM Center and the Facino Group, to create affordable housing at the old perfume building. I think it used to be something for.
I'm old, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, I can't. It's right across from Mando's. But with that site right there, we're going to be able to create affordable housing on that site. And so we got to create other tools. I like the fact I've been working on something with ADUs, accessory dwelling units, in the back of people's homes, where the city maybe can partner and help fund a small home in the back of your yard. Because if you know,
and now it's illegal under the current zoning to have a
Exactly.
mother-in-law apartment.
To have the mother-in-law apartment. But these ADUs can help out with affordable housing as well, because you
sure.
can create a small unit there.
Yeah, it also creates some income for some fixed
Create some
income
income.
people.
There you go. There you go. See, so those are things, but we have to just be honest. Right, it does sound good, but District 8 has the most affordable housing complexes in the city. If you look at any district in Chattanooga, District 8 has the most affordable housing units, and we're still creating them. But still, the narrative is we need more affordable housing. So we're going to always need more. We're going to always need more. But I think we definitely have to say, hey, this is what we have now, and make sure that people are getting to those places, because a lot of the affordable housing units in District 8 are not filled up. You even look at Chestnut Flats. That's a brand new affordable housing unit that's just been built, and so that's going to be affordable for the next 20 years. And this is all due to working out these pilot agreements and land donations from the city. But we got to find other tools in the toolbox to use to just make it affordable for everyone. And unfortunately, in this world of capitalism, it's hard to do.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you another question. You've been on the council for 4 years. We're talking to Anthony Byrd, District 8 councilman, running for his second term. So you've seen sides of the city that maybe a lot of people haven't seen. You've seen it from a lot of different perspectives. Your
Yes.
constituents from all over the District 8. You've got, then you're seeing the whole city, and so you've met a lot of different people. When people bring up the question of race and racism in Chattanooga, how do you talk about it?
You got to have the hard conversations. People are raised different, you know. I don't know your background, but I can't judge you just by looking at you and saying, hey, you're a white guy, you're a racist, you're a thug, you don't like us. And you can't look at me and say, oh, he's a black guy, he must be a gangbanger, or he must be a drug dealer. We have to get those perceptions out of people's head. But like I said earlier today, how can you legislate morality? So as a council person, I just have to be the change I want to see, and I have to then teach people that's around me and people that I come in contact with to say, don't judge a man by the color of his skin. To say, hey, look at a person's character. You know, I say, hey, let's you got to get to know people. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to always have racism, just because people just are evil or mean at their core. But once we weed these people out, and once we expose the person that they are, I think that's how Chattanooga can become a better place. That's how we can all become better people, because now I can see you for who you are and what you are.
Great. Well, I think you've answered all my questions. Let me ask you just any last words?
Just thank you guys for having this platform and putting this out here, because we got to have these honest conversations. And me, I'm not perfect. I'm not right all the time. But I do understand, Muhammad Ali made a quote that my service is the rent I pay for my time here on earth. And that's been a quote that I've always lived by. So if we all can live by that, your service, and you all are, you know, giving a service now to just help people, empower people, uplift people, and just get people educated about how things work. And I think if we all continue to work together and show a little bit more love, Chattanooga will definitely be a better place, and then that will then go into the world. So just keep showing love.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Anthony, for being here. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Wish you the best. And thank you for watching today. Again, the elections are March 2nd. All 9 council seats are up. Anthony is an incumbent in District 8. If you go to our website, hamiltonflourishing.org, you can read about all the candidates. Just go to their website, their picture, their Facebook page, and these interviews that we get them, and we're putting up there as fast as we can. So it's really, and you can also look up where you vote, and you can register to vote through that site too. It's right up to the state of Tennessee voter registration site, so you can do that. So it's hamiltonflourishing.org. And then on the screen, you've been able to see Anthony's website, and you can get in touch with him. It's got his phone number, it's got his email address. So if you want to ask him questions, if you want to ask him to come give an inspiring speech to your young folk, I bet he'd love to do that with you.
Well, yes, sir. I would love to. It would be an honor.
All right. So we've been talking to Anthony Byrd, And we thank you for watching this edition of Hamilton Flourishing.